Hey, I'm Naylor and welcome to this introductory guitar lesson on two-hand tapping technique as popularized by the great Eddie Van Halen. Van Halen's debut album was this week's recommendation in my listening club series over on Instagram, where you can find lots more music recommendations and guitar lessons. So in this particular lesson, we're going to go through the basics of the technique in both hands, seeing arpeggio patterns on the top string, and then there'll be a little study for you to work with at the end. Tabs will be available exclusively on my Patreon page, where for as little as $3 per month, you can help support the channel and get exclusive access to teaching materials from both my YouTube and Instagram feed. So let's zoom in and break this down. Zoom in! So phase number one is the picking hand technique, the hammer and the flick off. So it's player's choice here with which finger you're going to use. Some guys go for the index, some prefer the middle. I'm more of an index kind of a guy. And what we're going to do up on string number one, focusing on string one for today, we are going to look to hammer into the 12th fret, the double dot. Okay, fret number 12 on string number one, and we're just going to whack that fret as hard as we can with that finger. Right in the middle of the fret. I'm going to use my fretting hand to mute the strings so I don't get any unwanted noise as I do this. After we have hammered on with the finger still pressing into the fretboard, we are going to pull on the string either down toward the floor or up toward the ceiling until that string pops out and we flick off the string. So it's hammer, flick. Toward the ceiling. Toward the floor. Always be doing this to a beat. Here's 120 BPM. We're going to do some eighth notes. 1 and 2 and. Phase two is to add in a third note with the fretting hand, and the technique here is going to be the same as for the picking hand, in that we're going to hammer on with the index finger right in the middle of the fret. We're in the 7th fret. This is fret 7, the note B, and we're going to flick on. No, we're not. We're going to hammer on with that index finger as hard as we can. Again, you want that volume to be the same as a picked note. So it's going to be hammer, flick, hammer, hammer, flick, hammer. And in doing so, we've got 3 notes. We're going to be thinking in terms of a triplet figure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Or 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. So as we work on this technique to make it a little more interesting for us, we can be moving the notes in either of the two hands. We're going to get to this a little later on. But what we're going to do is we're going to move down to the 5th fret and the 4th fret with the index finger. So 7, 5, 4. So phase 3 with this is when we start to add in 2 notes under the fretting hand, and our hammer-ons and pull-off technique wants to be really solid as we do this. I will look to do some technique sessions on hammer-ons and pull-off technique in the future, but for now what we're going to do is set up with the index finger in the 4th fret of string number 1. That's going to be the note G sharp, which is the 3rd, major 3rd above the E. And with the picking hand, we are going to do as we were before on the 12th fret, but when we flick off, we're now going to be flicking off to the 4th fret note instead of the open string. And the 3rd note is going to come from the pinky finger hammering on to the 7th fret, the note B. So it's So what we're doing here is we're playing an E major arpeggio. We are outlining the notes that make up an E chord. E is the root, G sharp is the third, and B is the fifth. So we have an arpeggio shape here. And again, as before, this pinky finger wants to be strong enough that that note is as loud as a pick note. A little just back and forth between fingers 1 and 4, hammer, pull. That will help to develop the strength in the fretting hand. And you see the flicking off with the pinky is the same technique as we did before. We just flick. So that then is the technique, and at each stage you want to be working it to a metronome and gradually build your speed with each practice session. So with the arpeggio shapes, and to see these a little more clearly, it's nice to be clear on what the intervals are. So this shape we've been working with, we had the tonic, or the root, you could say, under the picking hand finger. So it was 1, 3, and 5. If, for example, then I wanted to make that minor, I would take the third and flatten it down, take it down 1 fret. So if I wanted an E minor arpeggio with a tap pattern, it would be like this. A little demanding because we've got more of a stretch in the fretting hand here. If I take that same pattern and move it up a couple of frets, so I'm on the A, the 5th fret of string number 1, keeping this index in the picking hand where it is, then I have in fact a 1, 3, 5 of an A arpeggio, A, C sharp, E. So this is A major. This would be major, then I could flatten the third and I'd have A minor. That's A minor, and then that's the famous move in eruption. Did that badly. So putting some of those arpeggios together and adding a little movement in the picking hand as well, we could come up with a little something like this. So there you are guys, that is the basics of two-hand tapping. Would you like to see more? If you do, then let me know in the comments, or if you have any other suggestions for lessons in coming weeks, then just let me know below. And while I've got you, if you're keen to learn the notes of your fretboard, you can do so with my free ebook, Fretboard Mastery, that is available from my website. And if you're looking to take things a little further and cover the fundamentals of guitar music theory, I have my course, Guitar Rutbusters Essential Theory. There is a 25% discount on the enrollment with the link again in the description. Thank you guys, you have a great week, and I will see you again next time.